Emma and Jake met in a small coffee shop in Chicago on a rainy afternoon. She was a writer, sipping on her third cup of coffee while staring at a blank document on her laptop, frustration evident in her furrowed brows. He was an architect, waiting out the rain with a book in hand, occasionally glancing out the window as if searching for inspiration. When Jake stood up to grab a napkin, he accidentally knocked over Emma's coffee, the dark liquid spilling across the table and onto her notebook. Emma gasped, jumping back as she grabbed the now stained pages, her notes smudged beyond recognition. "Are you kidding me?" she blurted out, exasperated. Jake's eyes widened in horror. "Oh my God, I am so sorry. Let me, buy you a new one. Or a million napkins. Or both." He scrambled for something to fix the mess. Emma sighed, shaking her head. "It's fine," she muttered, though her tone suggested otherwise. But Jake wasn't about to leave it at that. He ran to the counter, bought her a fresh notebook, and placed it in front of her. "For what it's worth, I think blank pages can be exciting. A fresh start, you know." She looked up at him, surprised by his earnestness. A reluctant smile tugged at her lips. "You really are trying to make up for this, huh?" "I really am," she smirked, closing the ruined notebook. "Well, I guess I can't stay mad at you forever." They parted ways that day, thinking they would never see each other again. But fate had other plans. A week later, Emma was dragged to a friend's housewarming party. She wasn't in the mood for socializing, but her best friend insisted she needed a break from her writing slump. To her surprise, when she walked into the warmly lit apartment, she spotted a familiar face across the room. Jake. He was mid-laugh, drink in hand, chatting with a group of friends. When his gaze landed on Emma, recognition flickered in his eyes, followed by amusement. "You again," he said, making his way toward her. "You again," she echoed, raising an eyebrow. "Did your new notebook survive the week?" "Barely," she teased, crossing her arms. "Still waiting for that stroke of genius to hit. Maybe you just need some inspiration," he said playfully. "Dinner with me, for example." Emma hesitated, staring at him, debating. He had an easy confidence about him, but not the kind that was arrogant. More like someone who genuinely believed in the good things life had to offer. She surprised herself when she smiled and said, "All right. One dinner." Their first date was at a cozy Italian restaurant downtown. The warm lighting cast a soft glow over their table as they shared stories about their childhoods, their dreams, and the little things that made them who they were. Emma, who had always been skeptical about love, found herself captivated by Jake's presence. He made her laugh, made her forget her worries, made the world feel lighter. Jake, on the other hand, was completely taken with her. He loved the way she spoke about her writing, her hands moving expressively as she described her stories. He loved the way she absent-mindedly twirled her pasta when she was lost in thought. By the end of the night, he knew, this wasn't just another date. This was something different. As the months passed, their bond only grew stronger. They spent weekends discovering hidden corners of the city, bookstores that smelled of old pages, little diners with the best pancakes, and parks where they could simply sit and talk for hours. On lazy Sundays, they curled up on the couch, wrapped in blankets, watching old black and white films, debating over which ones held up over time. Emma, who once thought love was complicated, found that with Jake, it felt easy. Safe. Like home. Jake, who had always been searching for something meaningful, found it in her. One winter evening, Jake planned a surprise trip to New York. Emma had always dreamed of seeing the city in the snow, and he wanted to give her that moment. They walked hand in hand through Central Park, their breaths visible in the crisp air, snowflakes catching in Emma's hair. She turned to him, smiling, completely unaware of the way his heart pounded in his chest. Jake stopped near a small bridge, his fingers tightening around the small velvet box in his coat pocket. He took a deep breath before turning to face her. "Emma," he said, his voice warm but nervous. She looked up at him, tilting her head. "Yeah." He reached for her hands, holding them in his. "From the moment I spilled coffee on you, I knew I had to keep seeing you," he chuckled, shaking his head. "But it didn't take me long to realize that I didn't just want to see you, I wanted a lifetime with you." Her breath hitched as he got down on one knee, the world around them fading into the background. I love you, he said softly. More than I ever thought I could love anyone. And I want to spend forever proving it. Emma, will you marry me? Tears welled in her eyes, her hands trembling as she nodded. Yes, she whispered, her voice breaking with emotion. 1,000 times, yes. He slipped the ring onto her finger before pulling her into a kiss, the cold forgotten in the warmth of that perfect moment. As the city lights shimmered around them, they knew, this was only the beginning of their forever.